Alright, so today I'm going to talk about thatch. I'll try to not go on a rant here, but I think it's important for homeowners to actually know what thatch is. I mean, you don't have to dive too deep into it, but at least if you know what thatch is, it can help you identify some of the issues you might have in your lawn. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can check if you have too much thatch, and I'm going to show you 3 methods how to actually remove the thatch if you have too much of it. So let's get into it. Hey everyone, my name is Sam and I'm your average Joe lawn nut. So does thatch actually have any benefits or is it just all bad? And how do you remove it? So those are the topics we're going to talk about in today's video. Alright, so I'm just going to start off by pulling a plug or a slice from my lawn using this knife and show you what thatch actually is. So what you can do is just use a regular knife and just cut into your grass and just take out a slice or a plug. Alright, so I pulled the plug. As you can see, this part, the upper part, that's the thatch layer. This is my soil. So as you can see from this plug, my thatch layer is about 2.5 centimeters, so about an inch. And 1 inch is actually too much. But trust me, I've had more thatch than this and I've actually removed a lot of it. So it's an ongoing process. I'm trying to remove it as much as I can over a couple of seasons. And contrary to popular belief, this layer is not dead grass. I mean, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where they say that thatch is dead grass, but it's not. Thatch is actually organic matter consisting of stolons, rhizomes, roots, some dead grass, but it's not all dead grass. So when I did my fall overseeding project last week, I used the power rake to pull dead grass. And in that video, I actually showed you what dead grass is and you remove it with power raking. So that was dead grass. This is not dead grass, not all of it. So this is organic matter that is decomposing, and if you have too much of it, it just can't decompose fast enough, so it starts building up instead. So the microorganisms in your lawn will eat this up and decompose it over time. So if the population of the microorganisms in your lawn has reduced, then they won't be able to keep up in decomposing this and keeping it under control. So that's why you need to keep your lawn healthy. So earthworms, microorganisms actually thrive and help you keep that thatch in check. So aerating your lawn, making sure it's not acidic. So a pH of 6.5 is what we're aiming for. So those are some of the good practices that will benefit the microorganisms in your lawn. So that's why it's important to keep a good balance in your fertilization program and not use too much fungicides, insecticides and herbicides and stuff like that, because those things are poison. It will not benefit the microorganisms in your lawn. And I mean, putting too much fertilizer on your lawn, I'm guilty of that as well. When I was a new homeowner and just had a new lawn to take care of, I mean, I did what most people do. I just went to the nearest store, bought the fertilizer with the most nitrogen in it and just start spreading it, because I heard nitrogen will actually push growth and make it greener. So I just put as much nitrogen as I could, not understanding that it's not beneficial for the grass and not knowing exactly what thatch is. So a good balance is actually good for your lawn, but if you put too much on it, that will actually not benefit your lawn at all. So does thatch actually have any benefits at all, or is it just all bad? No, of course not. It's not all bad. It has some benefits. So thatch will actually act like a cushion and protect the grass crowns, and it will also help protect it against wind or sun and keeping your soil from drying out too fast. So it does have some benefits as long as it's not too much. So anything below 1/2 inch or just over 1 centimeter is actually good for your lawn. You want to keep it at that level. So if you have more than that, that will give your lawn the spongy feel to it. It's almost like an accordion when you walk on it. So that spongy feel might be an indication that you have too much thatch. It might be other things as well. That's why it's so important to pull the plug and just check. But that's one of the issues that it might cause. So I just removed all the soil from the plug I removed. So this is just basically all thatch. And as you can see, it's quite substantial. It's way too much. And you see if I press it, it will just, it's like an accordion or a sponge. Just presses together. So this little plug will actually hold a lot of water. So I just poured water over it. I'm just going to press it out. Alright, did you see how much water this little piece actually held? That's a lot. So this is what will prevent any water to actually reach the soil underneath, and it will also prevent any air and nutrients to actually reach it as well. And that's why you don't want too much of it, because it will actually prevent a lot of good things to actually reach the soil. Alright, so if you have this much thatch and it's starting to prevent your key ingredients, water, air, nutrients, to get down to the soil, that will also make your grass roots stay in the thatch layer. As you can see, there's not many roots actually sticking through. So most of the roots are actually just staying in the thatch layer. Considering how much grass is on top, I can only see like 3-4 roots going deep and reaching the actual soil. So this is when you actually have a problem, because you don't want the roots to actually stay in the thatch layer. So thatch will actually cause your grass to have shallow roots. But I mean, your grass doesn't have a choice. I mean, it's going to do all it can to survive and multiply. And the best chance for the grass to survive is to go where the water is, and that's in the thatch layer. So it will go upwards into the thatch layer and stay there, because that's where it has the best chance of surviving. All right, so how do you check if you actually have thatch issues? Well, you can do what I did, just use a regular knife, cut out a slice from the lawn, that's the easiest way. Or you can get a soil sampler and pull a plug. Either way works. I would say the most important part is to take plugs or cut slices from different parts of your lawn, because it could differ. So this one I pulled from my backyard, and this one I'll pull from my front yard. And you can see the difference. I mean, the thatch on this is almost twice as it is on this one. So the thatch on this one is about 1.5 inch, and this one was just about 1 inch. So that's why it's important to, I mean, check different spots, because it could differ. But you don't want to treat areas where you don't have thatch issues, because you actually want some thatch layer left. So take plugs or cut slices, but from different areas, and check. It's not that hard. Don't rely on your lawn having a spongy feel to it, because there might be other issues causing that. Just pull a couple of plugs and check. That's the best way. I mean, spongy lawn can be an indicator that you might need to pull a plug and check, but don't go just by the fact that it's spongy. All right, so now you know the upsides and downsides of having thatch. So now to the question, what do you do about it if you have too much thatch? All right, so there's different methods to actually deal with thatch. You can either remove it mechanically by scarifying or doing hollow tine aeration, or you can do it by using a liquid dethatcher. Now, I don't use liquid dethatchers, mostly because they're not available in Sweden, at least not the brands that are specifically made for dethatching a lawn. But there are other products out there available in Sweden as well that kind of do the same. It's just about benefiting the microorganisms in your lawn. So one company is BioBiz. They make great organic stuff that you can put on your lawn that stimulate growth or stimulate microorganisms, and those will pretty much do what liquid dethatchers do. So I'll put links for all of this in the description below, either for liquid dethatchers that are available in the US or some of the other stuff that are available in Europe. So essentially what liquid dethatchers do is to supercharge the microorganisms in your lawn to actually decompose the thatch layer faster. With that said, it's not a one-time thing. So using liquid dethatchers is something you need to do every couple of weeks for a long period of time to actually start eating up some of that thatch layer. It's not a one-time thing where you just put down some liquid dethatcher and the thatch is gone. It doesn't work like that. So it's something you need to just keep at it over a couple of seasons to actually help the microorganisms to decompose the thatch layer faster. And I mean, that's how it is with most things related to lawn care. It's always a marathon, not a sprint. You have to look at it over the long period of time. If you want a decent lawn, you can't just do this one thing or do that thing and it will just turn out great. It's something you have to work on. So just remember that. It's not just buying liquid dethatchers, dethatch and everything is going to be great. No, you have to work at it. But I mean, getting rid of this much thatch might take a while using just liquid dethatchers. And if you're like me and not too patient, then I would go the mechanical route and do actually some scarifying or some hollow tine aeration. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all about getting the microorganisms to thrive in your lawn. But if it's just this much, I would just go at it mechanically and also at the same time try to benefit the microorganisms as well. So you can do both as well. You don't just have to do one or the other. So using a scarifier, that would actually just cut some grooves into the thatch layer and just keep pulling some of that out. And using a hollow tine aerator is basically the same principle. You use a hollow tine aerator, you just pull a lot of plugs to pull out some of the thatch layer. And basically what you want to do is just pull some of that thatch layer out so there's less for the microorganisms to decompose so they can actually keep up. So hollow tine aeration or scarifying is the quickest way to get rid of thatch. But one word of caution though, when scarifying, you're actually putting a lot of stress into your lawn. So I would highly recommend you to actually pull a plug or cut a slice from your lawn and actually check, do you need to scarify? If you don't, then don't do it. I think a lot of people just pull out the scarifier because they think it's something they do every year or have to do every year. So some say, well, 1st of March, I'm just gonna scarify. I do it 1st of March every year. It's just unnecessary to put that stress in your lawn if you don't have thatch problems. If you're going to scarify, do it for a reason. Don't do it just for the sake of scarifying. All right, so those are the 3 methods of removing thatch, either by liquid dethatching, hollow tine aeration, or scarifying. All right, so now you know what thatch is and the methods you can use to remove it. So I would suggest you to just go out into your garden right now, just turn off this video, go out, take a plug or cut a slice and see if you have too much thatch and start making a plan on how to remove it. Just think about what is your preferred method of removing it. Would you prefer to use a liquid dethatcher, or if you would prefer to just do it mechanically? The important part is just to get out there and actually check if you have thatch. Also remember, if you're removing the thatch mechanically, don't use this attachment for your Greenworks or Sunjoe dethatcher. This won't do anything to the thatch layer. This is just to take off any debris from your lawn. But if you're actually going to remove thatch, you need to use this attachment. This is the scarifier, okay? But also remember, it's getting cold in a lot of places. So in Sweden where I live, the weather is just getting colder and colder. So I wouldn't scarify right now because that would just put too much stress in my lawn. And when you scarify, I mean, it's all about recovery time. So before any cold weather or frost comes, I need to make sure that my grass has actually recovered from the stress when scarifying. And I mean, it's Sweden, we can get cold weather next week for all I know. It can come from out of nowhere. So I don't want to risk scarifying right now and not giving my grass enough time to actually recover from scarifying. So I would not scarify at the moment if it's getting cold where you live. But as I said, the best thing is just to get a plan together. Go right now, just take a plug, cut a slice, see, do I have too much thatch? Is it over ½ an inch?
Do it! Just do it!
And if it is, you can start right now making a plan for next season, either by getting some liquid dethatchers and having those ready, or maybe start thinking about when you're going to actually scarify, when you're actually going to fertilize your lawn. Those are the plans you can actually make up right now for next season. But again, first step, go check. Do you have too much thatch? I mean, when I moved into this house, I never checked for thatch. I had no idea. I mean, I checked YouTube videos what thatch is, but I actually never went out into the lawn and actually checked for thatch. So it took me a long time before I finally got out and actually pulled the plug and saw that I have too much thatch. I need to put a plan together to actually deal with it. And before that, I didn't use the scarifier or anything like that. So that was the starting point for me to actually put a plan together when to scarify and use different products to actually help reduce that thatch. So I'm actually happy about the progress. It's getting thinner in some areas. Since I pulled plugs from 2 different areas, I now know that I need to scarify more heavily on the front than in my backyard, since the thatch is just too much in the front. That's why it's so important. Just pick different areas, pull some plugs and check. I mean, don't worry about hurting your grass or anything. I mean, it will be a hole where you pull the plug, but you can just put the grass back like this. And you can hardly even notice where I pulled the plug. So just pull a plug, check, and just put it back. All right, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed it and found value in it, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and all that YouTube stuff. It does really mean a lot to me and really helps grow my channel. And the best thing about it, if you do, you don't miss any future videos. All right, so thank you for today, and I'll see you in the next one.